Hello, this is David, Fairly Secret Music. I'm planning on doing more videos coming up, but it's just kind of getting slow to what I want to talk about. Just coming up with ideas of things. So this new video is bands that had key members replaced, and in my opinion, they were replaced by better musicians. So first band is Deep Purple. Although I do really like Ian Gillan, he's not one of, I wouldn't throw him up as one of my favorite singers. My friend Glenn says it is weird to him that the David Coverdale era of Deep Purple is my favorite. And this album, and I'll just show the first album, or if there was only one album, but this album and Stormbringer especially, I think are just fantastic. I like the vocals better. I like Glenn Hughes way better as a bass player than Roger Glover, although Roger Glover is great. But there was just something about like the Glenn Hughes, David Coverdale lead vocals that I always thought was awesome. So, by the way, if I ramble, you know it's great watching my videos in like double time, because sometimes I'll pause and it makes it just way more enjoyable. I watch all your videos in double time. I can't watch them in real time. That's a lot of time. Motley Crue, the self-titled album with John Corabi. Let's face it, Vince Neil's not that great of a singer. Yeah, those first two Motley Crue albums are awesome. By the time Vince left, I thought they were just kind of eh. And I mean, there's some good songs on there, but I can't remember if it was like, it was Dr. Feelgood, I think. I can't remember what album it was before he left, but it had like one good song on it, and all the rest was pretty much filler. And this album actually, you know, you get a singer who's bringing new life to the band. Tommy Lee and Mick Mars are playing really well, and even Nikki Sixx is kind of coming up with a few cool bass lines that kind of surprised me. And I really like Corabi's voice because he's not anything like Vince Neil. Don't get me wrong, I really like those first two Motley Crue albums, but this just kind of seemed like a more serious band, heavier. I wouldn't say they got they got grungy. What year did this thing come out? 1999. Oh wow, I thought this was like 96 or something like that. But yeah, so I just think it's a great album, especially like Power to the Music is fantastic. Hooligans Holiday. I just like it. It's awesome. Now this might be one where people are like, are you for real? I've never been a big fan of Kevin DuBrow. I don't really like him as a person. He always kind of seemed like a loudmouth and whatnot, but I thought he had an okay voice, and I have the first three, but to me, this album is the best Quiet Riot album. I love Paul Shortino's voice on this. You know, was it Sean McNabb? I think it was Sean McNabb. Let's find out. It's been a while since yeah, Sean McNabb on bass. I think he's great. I'm not really comparing him to to Rudy Sarzo, but I've never thought Rudy Sarzo was all that amazing. I mean, he's good, but he's not like, you know. I would rather listen to a band with Sean McNabb or like Chuck Wright, or even over all of them like Neil Murray or Bob Daisley. But uh, yeah, so Sh- Paul Shortino's voice just made this band so much better than they were. Um, I know they didn't want to call this album Quiet Riot, but they were kind of forced to. Same thing with the Motley Crue thing. I think they didn't want to even go out as Motley Crue. Not 100% sure about that, um, but yeah, it this album is so good. I mean, Stay With Me Tonight, Run to You, King of the Hill, I Don't Want to Be Your Fool. You know, there are some really crazy ballads on here that it's kind of overwhelmed a smidge by ballads. I have both versions. I have the original and then the Rock Candy remaster. Now, this is going to be a band that people are like, I think you're kind of crazy, but let's face it. Yngwie Malmsteen has never been a band player. He doesn't belong in a band, especially with a guy named Graham Bonnet, because you knew they were going to butt heads. But who did they get to replace him? Steve Vai. And this album is just about 100% perfect. The song Stripper is the only low point. I mean, the music is pretty decent, but those lyrics are kind of cringeworthy. But I just noticed them the other day, and I was like, yeah, I really don't like these lyrics. But just about everything else on this album is perfect, especially Steve Vai's guitar playing. I know a lot of people liked David Wayne in Metal Church, but to me, Mike Howe brought way more um, interesting vocal lines. Just the songwriting was so much better by this time too. But Mike Howe just kind of lifted this band up too, if you ask me. The cool thing is that Mike Howe joined Metal Church and David Wayne joined what basically was Heretic. It was like 2 or 3 of the guys from Heretic. So it was kind of cool. They kind of swapped singers. And Reverend is the band that they became, and that was awesome too. But Metal Church Blessing in Disguise is just fantastic. As much as I love Epicus, Doomicus, Metallicus, Candlemass, Nightfall, and Tales of Creation, and oh god, what's that other one called? Ancient Dreams. Those albums are so awesome. And then they did the self-titled album, which was fantastic too. But I just think Messiah is basically the best singer for Candlemass. As much as I like that first album, I do love it. But later stuff with Jonah or Jonas or Johan or I can't remember what his name is, with the original singer, they're good, but I wish Messiah was still in this band. But if he can't be in this band, I really wish he would do another project. Normally I would say to my friend Jay, quit longing for like Mickey D to be in King Diamond. It's not going to happen. He's making way more money in the Scorpions, because he always wants bands to get back together with people that they don't maybe need, or sometimes they don't get along with. Um, I don't know what the deal with Candlemass with Messiah was. But I really would like him to do a project. I think it would be awesome. The Memento Mori stuff is pretty cool. Um, Weird mixes on that first album. If his vocals were mixed higher in the mix, it would be as awesome as some of this Candlemass stuff. But yeah, this is the shit. Um, this is a band that this is the first album that I discovered them on, was Fate's Warning, No Exit. A lot of people loved John Arch, and John Arch is good, but I believe, just like this last band that I'm going to show you, if he had stayed in the band, they would have probably just fizzled out, or just been just kind of, I don't think they would have lasted as long as they did. I think Ray brought new melody ideas that were more accessible for the fans. Once he stopped singing really high, I thought he brought just amazing vocals. And I love the fact that when he has to sing older stuff, he will sing it in a way that is complementary to his voice. Unlike James will be in Dream Theater, it's like he doesn't know he can change those vocal melodies to fit the way his voice is now. I think Ray Alder is just a brilliant singer. I've stolen so many ideas, like phrases and ways to sing, from him on my own stuff. And yeah, I just think this band got better and better up to a certain point. Um, with Ray in it. The only album that I really am like kind of about is Darkness in a Different Light, and a little bit for Disconnected. Disconnected is kind of a weak album too, but Pleasant Shade of Grey, Parallels, Inside Out, Perfect Symmetry. Oh, there's another thing. Mark Zonder joined for Perfect Symmetry and totally made that band completely different. Such a prog masterpiece. And then the last band I have for you is Marillion. Now, a lot of people will say it was a totally different band without Fish, and just like Fate's Warning, I think them as a band really couldn't have gone any farther with Fish. I just don't think they were on the same page, and it's obvious they weren't on the same page. But I think Steve Hogarth brought something they needed to go to the next step. Maybe the rest of the stupid masses did not get it, um, or people were just too bullheaded to give Steve Hogarth a chance. I think he's a fantastic singer. I'm not saying he is a better singer than Fish in almost every aspect. Um, he's also a musician, which is like a big thing, because I feel that, when Fish does his solo stuff, except for those first couple, um, it seems like those were kind of, the music was written, and then he kind of conformed his words to those songs, whereas later it always sounds kind of like Fish writes the lyrics and then they have to conform the music to those lyrics. But like Steve Hogarth, fantastic. I love this album. The follow-up, Holidays in Eden, I like even more. Then they did Brave, which is an amazing concept album. And then Afraid of Sunlight, and on and on. One of the later ones that is really amazing is Marbles. And you can look at my videos with Ryan for a lot of that. So, all right, there's 15 minutes. Take it easy. Bye-bye.